Right, for this project, I want you to think of old primitive images, Egyptian sculpture from 2,000 to 3,000 years ago, modern graffiti art. I'll put some examples on LMS. So bearing that in mind, I want you also to think of like a robot. Imagining you're composing a figure that's more like a robot than a human figure. So let's see what the journey brings today. Never use a pencil at this point of your development. Try always to use charcoal, which is burnt sticks of wood. It comes in various thicknesses. You can even use mango charcoal, the barbecue charcoal that you use on your barbecue. And use a putty rubber. So with charcoal, it helps you to through your mark making and also develop your painting understanding, because it's more chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro is the light and dark aspects in a picture. So I've done no pre-planned sketches, so I'm attacking the drawing from start with nothing to begin with no prior designs. So I'm starting from a blank piece of paper, no previous sketches or designs or ideas. Okay, so we're thinking of a robot, we're thinking of a human figure, we're thinking of Egyptian statues and sculpture, the greatest sculpture ever made in my opinion. We're thinking of graffiti art. So let's just start with a box. To begin with, it gives us at least a central area we can focus on. And when you use your charcoal, don't hold it like a pencil, hold it on its side. Then you can get line, you can get tone. So line and tone. Also, this will help you when you come to paint, because I want you to hold your brush like this, like a drum, as I said before. So let's see what happens. So if we say that's the central torso of the figure, and maybe there's an arm coming there, and an arm coming there. Then maybe you can put a circle there, or a circle there, or a small circle. So I'm just exploring possibilities. And then one leg there, maybe one leg coming out there with the toes. So maybe we'll put a line down there and some lines there. Maybe a circle there. Think about machinery, industrial machinery, engineering as well. So I think we'll put a small area there, then a block. Then maybe a shape like that, and then the eyes, the ear, nose, mouth, hair. I'm just exploring the beginnings of my ideas, really, trying to create a form that has some sense of honesty and reality about it. So I'm not sure about that arm in that position. So take the putty rubber. It's easy to erase the charcoal. And these marks also are helpful because, you know, you can create tonal variations. So let's try a semicircle there first. And then square a rectangle area there. Now I think that needs to be brought up. So we'll have that area there, and we'll have like a rib cage. There maybe. We'll bring this arm there and up maybe. Erase that area. I think bring the head down. Bring the eyes down. So neck position there. I'm just exploring different variations until something appeals to me. And when we begin painting, we can change it again, obviously. So I think we'll change that hip area. So one circle there. Legs come down there. The marks, even erased marks, will suggest new possibilities and new avenues to explore. Also, we can add newsprint as collage areas. We can even write, type, whatever word you want to use. We can use symbols, shapes. try to bring in different elements, even more superficial, even add new figures. To the composition. So as you can see, we're just exploring one room after the next until we begin to get a feeling of the direction we need to follow. Maybe from the mouth we can have a message, or the ear. This is the ear, maybe. Don't like that, take that away. The arm should come in that position, or maybe like so. Don't worry about the rubber breaking up, putty rubber, because it's really like soft plasticine. It gets hot and soft and it breaks up, but you want it soft, so that's when it works at its best. If it's hard, it can be less useful. And when we come to paint, obviously the first thing we do is you can either rub most of this off so you can see a ghost of the image, or you can use fixative and fix it with hair lacquer, which is cheaper, or artist fixative, which will set and keep the sketch in place. Then you can begin your painting on top of that. But don't forget, when you're sketching, this is only the beginning of the journey. When we start painting, as you will see, we will change it even more. We may completely create a new image, a new composition, because every step you're exploring new possibilities. So the initial sketch, you're not confined by that. You're not imprisoned by that. That's the basic skeleton that you're beginning with, but it can mutate into any direction of your choice. And as I mentioned about the visual labyrinth, you're in a dark room, you're exploring every aspect of that room in the dark, trying to find a light switch. You find the light switch, turn the light switch on, find the door, go through the door. You think that's it? No. You've entered another dark room. The process repeats. You explore every room, you explore every aspect of that room, every space within that room, until you find a light switch. Find the door, you go through. This cycle repeats itself again and again and again and again while you're painting. Sometimes you lose the image, and then by losing it, you find a new direction, something you never dreamed of before. So never worry about the image becoming destroyed or changed, because painting is about the evolution of change and development until you find the clarity that makes sense to you. You know, I'm not sure when I look at this if I want this sort of central area or if I want a much more blocky type body, or if I want that to be shaped, or I want the shoulder to come out and this being a more of a just a outline of the arm and hand, the shoulder, for example. Maybe that will come down there. But you can see it's always changing, it's always evolving. And with the rubber, you can draw with the rubber as well by cutting in to this tonal area you've made. So obviously you've got a tonal value that you've drawn, and with the rubber obviously you can bring in areas like I've done there, which will help you understand your painting as well. So I think that's just a basic kind of beginning that we're considering pursuing. So I will fix that now, and then we will go to stage 2 and start to paint. Good luck. So the charcoal drawing is fixed now. So now we're ready to add collage at this point, and then after that start painting. So I'm just considering, I found these old photocopies of machinery, and I'm just considering whether or not I can use some of these in part of the painting. So let's just take that, for example, trim that off. And maybe we can stick that in that position. So let's consider that. And we can stick it onto the canvas in the drawing and then paint over it. We can paint over all of it or just some of it and leave some of it still to be seen. So let's do that now. Let's stick that collage onto the drawing and see what happens. Right, now you can see I found 2 pieces of collage from a magazine, just from an advertisement, watches and the cogs, mechanical cogs. I cut those out of the magazine and just pasted those on the drawing, just to kind of, again, feed my imagination. I think the robot will be feminine, so we're moving in that direction. So again, remember, one step at a time, see where that road takes you. It will always lead somewhere. And even if there's a dead end, you'll find a way of moving forward coming back and going in a new direction. So let's see what we could do now with this picture. So I've got some colours mixed up. Firstly, I want to try to kind of again try to block in the design that I'm trying to look forward to. So I'm just using white at the moment to kind of isolate my ideas. And this way of working is spontaneous but also very primitive. So don't worry about using the brush like this. Never use the brush like this if you can help it. Try to always use the brush like this. You create more fluid marks. So let's bring that down there. And maybe there. I will repaint those marks in later. As I said, I'm just trying to get to grips with my composition. And when you're working like this, if a word comes into your mind, just write the word. Spontaneously on the canvas. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just trying to isolate not just the drawing, but clarify where to go next. I think we'll take a scarlet and go around. And that area, paint over that clock face. And take some yellow, I think. Bring some yellow around there. Yellow up there as well. I'm using a flat brush, as you can see. And like every picture, whether it's from life, from the imagination, or in this case, graffiti and abstract expressionism, be prepared to change the composition, be prepared to open new doors. New avenues. So gradually explore different possibilities. And you can always change your mind, paint over previous marks, previous ideas. Try to keep the paint quite clean, the colours quite clean. And quite randomly painted on the canvas. And it's a building process, as always. And even though it's primitive, graffiti type work, it's linked to abstract expressionism. Look at William de Kooning, I think the greatest abstract expressionist. Why? Because he always had the figure at the centre of his subject matter. No matter how abstracted it became, it was always derived from the original figure. And being a figurative artist myself, obviously, I support that. So as you can see, we're just building up. We're not worrying about the line straight. It's the freedom of the brush work we're trying to pursue. Go over that pink again. Give it a bit more depth of colour. As I stated before in the fat over lean principle, it's lean, which means thin layers of paint. And if you want to develop the pigment further, you repaint the area to create a stronger body of paint. And even though these collages, I've still retained two of the original clock faces and cogs, as it continues, I may lose them altogether, but who knows? Let's see what happens. So I think I'll take some lighter blue, bring some up to the hands. Decide whether you want to leave it with a texture or opaque. It's up to you. I'm going to have maybe one half of the face. As you can see, we're just beginning to feel our way around. When you're painting like this, it's better mostly to let areas dry before you ever paint, otherwise they become muddy. And you lose that vibrancy of the primitive nature of the image. So I think we'll leave it there for the moment. When that dries, I will continue working on the next stage of the picture. Good luck. Right, it's nearly dry now. I've just been thinking about the next stage. I don't like this area here. I quite like the way the arms work in there. And I need to change these two colours. So I'm going to take some white first. I think bring that, I'm using a knife to paint over previous marks. If you use the knife in that way, you get a straight edge. And you can use the paint quite thickly, so, and it's under your control. So I use the knife that way, come across. And also you can create interesting textures as well, if you so require. I'm working at an angle with the camera, so it's a bit trickier than normal. Then over here, I think that should also finish about that point. And I think what I do here when it's dry is put some lines, almost like a rib cage. And bring some lighter yellow there. Basically, the aesthetic is something that you decide with experience, how much to change, where to change. Maybe some more yellow down here, I think. Obviously when you're using a knife like this, the paint will take longer to dry because obviously it's a thicker layer. As this is a primitive style of painting or method of painting, then again it adds to the quality and the primitive nature of the work. So I think we'll bring yellow up to there as well to isolate that leg and that leg. Come down to that leg. Maybe bring some vibrant blue around this side. This is the head shape. And we said we'll repeat this shoulder there as well, so that will mean arm will be a black line or a line rather than a thicker form. So again, this questioning, this constant change and development of the image. Is the same process whether we're doing a conventional still life or more graffiti-like abstract image, primitive image like this one. The subject is always at the center of the imagination, and you keep scrutinizing the elements and your previous understanding of the journey. Until it bears fruit. I think this colour needs to change to maybe a bright red colour. maybe we do the whole head shape red for the time being. Again, we can always review it, change it to a different tone if we want to in the future. Put just 2 lines down to the neck. Take a bit of this bright yellow again and just highlight that shoulder, make it a little bit stronger. And there as well. So I'm thinking of putting some lines there representing like a rib cage. Reduce that a little bit. I think maybe, oh, maybe we'll lose that altogether with some orange. Get some more paper. I'm not sure if I even want to keep this now. As I keep repeating one idea, one suggestion, one phrase, moves on to the next phrase. I'm going to take some green, maybe for the neck area. We're going to have a mouth there, eyes, or maybe an eye there, I don't know. Let's bring some orange up here. Take some orange, bring some orange in there, I think. Yeah, I'm going to lose some of this. It's part of this collage. Bring it yellow, I think, up to there. I think yellow area down the centre, the rib cage, maybe. Might start to work. See, even though I painted over the collage watch, by putting it there in the first place, it suggested new possibilities. So, just like a rough draft, it gives you a rough design idea. And as you can see, when I'm laying one paint layer over another, you're getting depth and texture and quality of the colours. So we just take that last piece of away. Go over this one again. If you look at the work of Paul Klee, who was one of the great 20th century primitives, you will see how he created beautiful, tender, sensitive, psychological pictures from his subconscious. I know Dali is a great hero for many people, and they love his kind of eccentric performances, but to be honest, I think the greatest surrealists are Paul Klee and Juan Miro. So you can see we're building up lots of different textures and different elements. I'm not sure about this shape for the head yet. you can use a pencil just to kind of see where you want to go next. I think we'll bring some orange into this area of the hand. That needs to be overpainted if we want to lose that blue. So maybe I'll bring some white into that area. No, I don't like that. So I'll scrape that off. Spot some excess paint off there as well. But that creates texture in itself, and another element that you may want to keep later. I'm thinking the head should be yellow actually. So maybe yellow but with a slight texture to it. I don't know that maybe. Again, I'm working at an awkward angle, but I think you get the gist of what I'm trying to reveal. I may keep that charcoal like that rather than adding a painted version. Again, I think we've come to a stage where we need to let the picture rest and dry, and for our own thoughts to see where we go for the next stage. Right, it's dried a little bit. Now I'm going to try to put in an area where I think the eyes might be. And then the nose would be there. I think the mouth. Then I think of and I think we'll have a central kind of rib cage area there. Coming down to the neck. And the arm. And there. So it's got like a primitive African Aboriginal kind of robotic feel about it. At the moment, we're bringing see, when you're working in a very primitive way, in a way you're creating symbols. So, symbol-like structures. So it's beginning to have a a feeling of a primitive figure. Robotic type figure. And we had a little man here as well, didn't we? Like a dancing man. Do we put a bubble there? I'm not sure. I think we had a word there, didn't we? Stop. So let's put some teeth. Maybe the ears. The eyes. And then back of the brush of red. I quite like this yellowy texture here. And maybe here we can bring a square in the foot. and over here as well. Bring some of that yellow up to the small man, maybe, yeah. More yellow here, I think. As you can see, developing into a very kind of, the colours are very primitive, very bright. Creating a real tribal feeling. Maybe, I think, I'm not sure why that white, maybe we should have more orange there. To bring a bit of vibrancy and colour to that area. And to isolate the rib cage. It's getting a bit dirty now, the colour. Don't be afraid to scrape it back. Use the palette on its side, you get a nice line. So I think you can see the primitive quality in this simple graffiti type tribal image. So good luck with your own journey, and we'll discuss more your development within the classroom.